I don't know how many are familiar with the concept of revival. I would assume it's everybody by now, but the concept of revival is where God comes sovereignly and moves upon his people to transform them, which in turn transforms a region. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? And we've been asking God for that, and there are areas in this nation where revivals have happened before, and we happen to live right on top of areas of previous revivals. There's a lot of them all around this area, some more contained to geographical regions and some more expansive. But maybe the most recognized is Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan Edwards preached first time his sermon in Massachusetts or Connecticut. It was right on Route 5 somewhere, Sinners in the Hand of an Angry God, where people saw themselves for who they were and immediately changed and transformed. And it wasn't about it being harsh or mean. It was about God wanting to change them. Okay, people hear the title and they go, oh my gosh, this is really scary. Listen, it wasn't about it being scary. It was about God wanting to change them and transform them. And Edwards traveled all the way up and down Route 5. And there is a spot on Route 5, I believe, where there's a plaque. And I know where the spot is. And there's an intersection there. And while I was on the front row, in the back room, we were praying about wells. But while I was on the front row, I all of a sudden was there, and I saw this cap on top of a well that was way bigger than the intersection, way bigger than the convent, way bigger than the buildings on the other side and the highway on the other side, and went further that way. I knew it was bigger in diameter than the size of this property. And this property is 5 acres long. So if there's a cap on a well that size, that's really very big. Do you understand that? If there's water bubbling up underneath that, that's really very massive. And I knew that the church that Christina comes from is sort of down the way on Route 5, just off the side of it. And I know where we are, and I know where some other churches were. And I saw around the edges of this well were these holes that had things bubbling up, water bubbling up out of the well. And it was pooling in the street, and it was moving down Route 5 and through all the areas, and the water has been moving. So we're in a stage right now where the water has moved around, okay? The well has started to open. Does that make sense? If it's a well of revival, the Holy Spirit is a picture of water that has started to move. And then also I saw these spots where there was holes in there, and the water was shooting out, and it was going like far, like Suffield, like the other side of far and further that way into New England and all around. And I saw the people who were praying and the people who were battling, because this well will affect the nation, were standing on top of the well cover and just hitting it over and over and over and over again. I saw Dan and Christina, myself, and a few other people just banging on top of that well. And inside of me came, this will open. And then I realized, what happens if we're standing on the well cover when the well opens? And I said, God, what? And he said, oh, they just go up. It's not a bad thing. Up further levels of glory, up further places in Jesus, they just go up. They just go up. And then he said to me, there's so many people that are tired and weary of banging on the well. They don't see the water moving, and they're tired of it, banging it. And then he reminded me of a picture I saw last week where there's an airplane, a big airplane, and there's a little one underneath it. You know that there's a downdraft underneath that big airplane? And if the little airplane lines up underneath it, the downdraft of the big airplane sucks it. And he said, just get in my downdraft. If you just stay there, the weight of this banging is very easy. The move into what he's doing is very easy. So like I said, that it has a lot to do with where we are in these verses, and we'll hit it back and forth, but I had to tell you ahead of time because I am so excited. The size of that well is enormous. I'm so excited that I know the water is pooling in our feet, around our feet. And I want you to hear me. If this is just the pool of water around our ankles, what is it going to be like when it's knee deep? What is it going to be like if that cap does just come off and we go from knee to above our heads? There's a reason why we're banging holes and it doesn't just fly off. God is helping us adjust. But there is so much space in this worship environment. There's so much space in this room. You can go further than you've ever gone in God. It's just a matter of our wanting to feel safe there. And that's some of the things that we're going to talk about, okay, from Hebrews. So we're going to read Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28, and I'm going to read 29.